Hey everyone, Couch Investor back on our earnings video for today. So we finally reached Block. We had PayPal, good reports. Stock during the day was sometimes just up 2%. Then we ended the day around 6%. But another company, Block, was up more than PayPal and was yet to report earnings. And well, right now at the time of making this video, the stock is up 15%. So probably someone knew something. Someone always knows something before we all do. But they came out double beat, and they announced a $1 billion share buyback program. Finally, we are getting some shareholder returns. Well, not finally. I mean, there is an announcement now. We just have to wait and see until they actually buy their own shares. But they did say some promising things during the report, during the earnings call as well. Margin expansion, becoming more profitable, returning more to the shareholders. I mean, finally, they realized that this is a publicly traded company. This isn't a charity. This isn't a private company. Finally, they're realizing that. They're also doing some changes internally to help their customers. I mean, it's really like a eureka moment, I believe, for Block. Better late than never, I would guess. And so we also have something new in the earnings report, in the shareholder letter, way more text, storytelling, explanations of their plans, because I do feel that they themselves have been looking at their business, at the stock's performance, and maybe even at the shareholders' disappointment. And they were like, okay, maybe it's time for us to come out and actually talk a bit about our business and what we want to do, etc., etc. So here again, they tell us about the rule of 40. So we believe we will reach rule of 40 in 2026 with an initial composition of at least mid-teens gross profit growth and a mid-20% adjusted operating income margin. As we progress towards rule of 40 in the coming years, we expect our margin profile and free cash flow generation to improve as well, which means we can return more to our shareholders over time. Today, we're instituting an initial authorization to repurchase $1 billion in shares, which will offset a portion of dilution from share-based compensation. Again, better late than never. They also noticed that they can do more with less. Finally, I mean, it's almost the end of 2023, and now they're talking about having a cap of the number of people that they have at the company. So that will be held at 12,000 people until we feel the growth of the business has meaningfully outpaced the growth of the company. We know the inverse is true today. I mean, why do they need 12,000 people right now? I don't know. Then they talk a bit about the exceptional AI talent at the company. They haven't been using it effectively. We're putting a huge premium on this work, starting with increasing our engineering productivity, not just within Square, but across all of Block. Finally, we see a growing opportunity for banking with and on Square and are surfacing it as one of our top priorities. Maybe they're taking a page out of SoFi's book, who knows? We've come a long way since introducing Square Capital. We now have a number of financial tools in the market to help sellers with cash flow and purchasing, including loans, debit card, credit card, checking, savings, and bill of pay. I'm going to talk about that a bit later on when it comes to banking, inflows, and all of that. Anyways, if you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not. If you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment with the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. And Friday, maybe by the time you're watching this video, it's already Friday, but I'm going live with Arnie to talk a bit more about Palantir, the report, and especially what was mentioned during the earnings call. So stay tuned for that. All right, so the highlights. Gross profit, in my opinion, still quite good, $1.9 billion. That's up 21% year over year. Square gross profit increased just 15% year over year to $899 million. Cash App gross profit continues to be a pretty good business. That's up 27% year over year to $984 million. Operating income, still a loss, although a smaller loss than before, still a loss, $10 million. Adjusted operating income, $90 million, big improvement there. Net income, still a loss, $29 million, and adjusted EBITDA of $477 million. Now, with regards to Cash App ecosystem, they say here the Cash App card reached 22 million monthly actives as of September, with approximately 30% of those transacting on any given day. Okay, which means they still have a lot to do to make sure that the other 70 actually do something with that card, but fine. good numbers. In the third quarter, they originated over $900 million in short-term loans and had more than 2 million Cash App Borrow monthly actives as of September. They also said that as of September, they had more than 2 million Cash App Pay monthly actives, and that's doubled since June. Then with regards to the Square ecosystem, this is the first time actually they talk a bit more about the announcements, the products that they launched and stuff like that. So in August, they launched Square Go. So they've connected sellers and buyers to create nearly 500,000 bookings through Square Go in the third quarter since launch, and week-over-week bookings continued to increase through the same period. I mean, we've talked about this in the past with the acquisition of Afterpay, creating a sort of super app, let's say, where you can book, buy, explore, look at ads, view ads, and then this will make you buy, send money, pay for stuff. I mean, it was a given. They've moved pretty slow on that front, but hey, I mean, this was a good launch. Oh, and by the way, they also talked about the Buy Now Pay Later platform. So they have historically allocated the financial results from the Buy Now Pay Later platform equally to the Cash App and Square segments. In the fourth quarter of 2023, they're going to change the management reporting structure and moved the business activities and management of their Buy Now Pay Later fully under Cash App. So beginning to the fourth quarter, they will update that segment reporting to incorporate the financial results of the Buy Now Pay Later platform within the Cash App segment, rather than allocating 50% of revenue and gross profit from the Buy Now Pay Later platform to each Square and Cash App. Then, with regards to overall revenue, that reached $5.62 billion, that's up 24% year over year. Now, if you exclude Bitcoin revenue would have been $3.19 billion, up 16% year over year. Gross profit was 1.9, as we've seen before, and Bitcoin gross profit was just 2% of Bitcoin revenue. So what I say doesn't really matter that much. As for subscription services-based revenue, that was $1.49 billion. That was up 25% year over year. And gross profit was $1.23 billion. That's up 28% year over year. As for the Square ecosystem, so Square generated $1.98 billion of revenue and $899 in gross profit. That's up 12 and 15% year over year. Square generated $1.54 billion of transaction-based revenue in the third quarter. That was up 10% year over year. Now, with regards to GPV, so gross payment volume per geography, so in the US market, that grew 9% year over year, and growth in the international market was 28% year over year. On a constant currency basis, Square GPV in the international markets was up 30% year over year. Which, by the way, brings me back to the video I made, I believe, last week when Worldline reported and their stock crashed 60%, which brought down the whole fintech industry. And I said that maybe this was just a Worldline issue. Maybe they just seen extreme weakness in Germany, for example, in Europe because of their business, and this should not impact other fintech players. Right now, if we look at what PayPal reported, what Block is reporting, I think that theory was correct. Then with regards to Square GPV mix by seller size, percent mid-market sellers is now 41%, up 1% year over year. I mean, it's always nice to see that the big guys are growing a bit faster than the smaller ones. And as for the gross profit in markets outside the United States, that reached $151 million, 17% of Square gross profit. Then, as for the Cash App ecosystem, so Cash App generated $3.58 billion of revenue. That was up 34% year over year. If you exclude Bitcoin revenue, Cash App revenue would have been $1.16 billion, up 26% year over year. Now, they do give us something that they've never given us before. So, first up, Cash App had 55 million monthly transacting active. That's up 11% year over year. Inflows per transacting active in the third quarter was $1,132. That's up 8% year over year and relatively stable quarter over quarter. Overall inflows, as you can see right here, $62 billion, up 21% year over year and 1% quarter over quarter. But this was, I believe this is the first time they give us the monetization rate, 1.43%. That's up 8 basis points year over year and flat quarter over quarter. They calculate monetization rate by dividing Cash App gross profit, excluding contributions from the Buy Now Pay Later platform by Cash App inflows. Okay, I mean, a 1.43% monetization rate, there's still a lot of work to do here. Then with regards to expenses and total net revenue, the growth, what is outgrowing the other? So total expenses grew much slower than total revenue. And with what they're telling us in the earnings call, we should expect this company to become more profitable already next quarter and in 2024 as well. Because if we look at the guidance, which by the way, this is way better than what they always gave us before, this is way more informative. They also told us that 2024 is going to be the strongest profitable year yet. There will be margin expansion, expect profitability on a GAAP operating income basis. They tell us $875 million in adjusted operating income. That will be up 4 times from the 2023 guidance, and also expect $2.4 billion in adjusted EBITDA, free cash flow growth, and of course that $1 billion in share buyback. Now here we can see gross profit growth between 18 and 19% for Q4, adjusted EBITDA to come at the midpoint of $440 million, adjusted operating income $50 million at the midpoint for Q4. Then with regards to the 2023 guidance, so the previous one, we never gotten that for gross profit, but for adjusted EBITDA and operating income, you can see big improvements there. I mean, adjusted EBITDA previously 1.5 billion, now it's closer to 1.67 billion. Then as for gross profit, they expect 24% growth year over year. As for adjusted operating income, previous guidance was just 25 million. Now we're closer to $215 million. So quite a big jump there. And to be honest, it was about time. And so if we look at the graph, of course, throughout this week, we already had a couple of good green days. So we were back above that line here at around $42 or so, which by the way was the price we've seen back in the pandemic lows of March 2020. And now we're closing in to that previous support line, which obviously didn't hold at all at around $52 or so, which was also type of support rebound area back in October 2022 and back in December 2018. Remains to be seen what will happen after the market opens. Of course, it's Friday, the week is almost done, so expect this week to have that big green candle. Let's see if we can stay above the 20 and the 50-day moving average. RSI still pretty low. Of course, tomorrow when the market opens, that will jump a little bit. So overall, good quarter by Block and definitely good guidance, good information during the earnings call, giving us a better sense as to what management is thinking, if they actually care about shareholder returns, if they actually care about shareholders as a whole. I think they got the message pretty clear when the stock got hammered over and over again. Maybe they're seeing the chatter around the investment community as well. I don't know, but probably some analysts are also talking about that. I mean, this stock has been down quite a lot. That doesn't make any sense anymore. But hey, finally they have woken up. So I'm happy. Yes, I'm still holding my shares. Of course, do share your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.